Hey, welcome to the Bestseller Secrets Podcast. I'm Rob Kosberg, your host. This is where experts and entrepreneurs come to learn exactly how to write, launch, and profit with their own best-selling book. Have an exciting show for you today. I really break down for you today exactly how you can take your book, do all the steps properly, so even if you have no audience, even if you have no following, no email list, etc., you can actually launch your book properly and become a best-selling author. I want to talk about a couple of things that I think are important when it comes to the launching of your book, the publishing, the launching of your book, and some things that more recently have changed in the Amazon and in the publishing space. When I first wrote a book, when I wrote my first book, Life After Debt, 16 plus years ago, and published it, I did what any other self-published author did and probably even does today, and that is I hit publish and hoped. I hoped that it would sell. I hoped that people would love it. And, probably for those of you who have tried to do that, you know what the outcome was. It wasn't fantastic. And I learned very, very quickly, as many people do, that if I don't have an audience already built in for my book, if I don't have a big platform, if I don't have a big email list, et cetera, then I better find a way to get my message, my content, my book in front of the right audience. Now, over the last 16 years, which is cool, and in particular, 13 to 14 years with bestseller publishing, we've dialed in, our process to launch books to bestseller, whether the author has an audience or not. In fact, the vast majority of our clients do not have a large audience. If you do, kudos, fantastic, congratulations. We can talk about some really cool ways on another call of how you can use that audience to really blow up your business. And that's fantastic. Any size audience that you have is, of course, useful and helpful. But if you don't have a big audience, then the whole goal is to use your book to build your audience. That's what I've done over the last 14 years. That's what a lot of my clients do. And for those of you that are newer or listening to this, that's what I want you to be able to do also. So there's three main parts to this process that we've dialed in over many, many years. And I want to go through them, and I want to talk to you about some tweaks and some differences in particular that have happened in the last even just 6 months to a year that we've seen, especially with Amazon. Look, there's other platforms to sell your book on. Barnes & Noble is fantastic, iBooks, etc. There's other places, but Amazon is by far the largest publishing platform in the world and sells more books and gets more books downloaded than all the other platforms combined. So we want to give Amazon what it wants, so Amazon gives us what we want, which is more sales, more potential clients, more people reading our content, more followers, etc. So let's talk for a minute about the three main parts, and then let's go into a little bit of depth on each one of those parts. The simple premise here, as I begin talking about each of these three steps, is this. The simple premise is I don't have an audience for my book, or a very large one, and I want to sell lots of copies of my book, and I want my book to grow my audience. So the simple premise is I need to get my book, which has the right message, the right cover, the right title, in front of an audience that is going to love it. And right now, I don't care what your topic is. I don't care what it is that you are an expert in. It doesn't matter if you're an expert in financial services, or you're a coach of some kind, or you're a business consultant, or you're an agile consultant to manufacturing firms. It doesn't matter. Somebody somewhere has attracted your audience already. A blog, a website, a podcast, and more than likely, millions of people that are in your audience have been attracted. And all you have to do, the premise, all you have to do is get your message in front of those people in a way that you know they're going to react positively to it. Okay? So that's the simple premise. Here's the three parts of this. The first part is our foundation or our content. And that is very clearly, we need a great title, a great cover, and the right content within our book. And when I say content, I don't mean your book itself. I mean what Amazon would call A+ content, the right description, the right keywords, the saying the right thing on the publishing platform itself, okay? I'm going to assume that your book is awesome. I'm going to assume you're an expert on the topic. I'm going to assume that you're a great storyteller and you've done all of those things right. So when someone begins reading your book, I'm going to assume that they're going to fall in love with you and fall in love with your content, and we're going to fly together, right? But what I want to do is I want to make sure that that person gets it, right? That person gets a chance to read your book and to fall in love with you and fall in love with your content. So, title, cover, and content. Content meaning content on the publishing platform. That's title, description, keywords, and what Amazon calls A+ content, which is a newer idea with Amazon. We've talked about this many, many times, but I'm going to give you just some of the highlights of it. When it comes to your title, we have done extensive research over a dozen plus years. And if you wish to do the research, please do it. Look at the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the USA Today, the Amazon bestsellers in your category, who your ideal clients are. Look at the top 100 over any given year or decade, and you will find that there are certain principles in place when it comes to your title. Your main title should be 1 to 3 words. Now, can it be 4? Yes. Can it be 5? Okay. Yes. But you will find, if you do the research yourself, that 98 out of 100 of the top selling books in your category are books with a 1-word title or a 2-word title or a 3-word title. Now, can you go outside of that box? Sure. But why would you as a newer author, right? Like, let's follow the path to success and riches rather than trying to blaze our own trail and say, well, my 8-word title is going to be awesome because I just think my grandma's saying is really fantastic. I'm sure it is. But why don't we just find a 1-word, 2-word, or 3-word title? And that's the main title. The subtitle can be much longer, but the subtitle is the benefit-rich portion. Why should a reader read your book? Why should your ideal client, your reader avatar, what are the benefits that he or she is going to draw from the reading of your book? That is what your subtitle is about. Your cover, there's lots of different things that you can do with your cover, but let me give you at least 1 or 2 that are important for you to understand. Number 1, simple is almost always better. The busier a cover is, the more complicated a cover is, the more likely you're going to do something wrong and you're going to turn people off. Look at Malcolm Gladwell's stuff. I mean, Malcolm Gladwell, massive national, international bestseller. His covers are all the same. Generally speaking, they're white or off-white, and the text itself is dark, dark blue, black, etc. It's as simple and clear as possible. Usually has one tiny image on his cover, right? Something very, very small that elaborates on the title itself. And 1-word titles, 2-word titles, 3-word titles, he uses over and over and over again. So in a basic sense, simpler is better. Now, someone may also ask, well, Rob, what about my image? Should I have my image on the cover? Well, it depends. Are you trying primarily to brand yourself? If you're trying primarily to brand yourself, or you're already an influencer in your field or space, then by all means, put yourself on the cover. If you're not, and you're really trying to draw people into your business, your message, etc., then you're better off leaving your image off the cover. You can always have your image on the back of the cover itself, while the front is very, very plain, very simple, very clear. It doesn't take away from the message at all. Okay? Always put yourself in the shoes of your potential reader. What is it that they're going to think? Do as best you can to think like they think. And just remember, simpler is almost always better. Now, that's cover, that's title. So imagine for just a moment that you are a consultant of some kind and you found a website or a blog, and that blog kind of caters to and features people that are consultants in your field, right? Or the people that are going to that website or blog are your ideal clients. Maybe they're C-suite in the Fortune 1000 or Fortune 500 or something like that, and you want to put your message in front of them. If your title and your cover resonates, then you have your marketing message right there. You don't need a fancy headline. Your cover itself is the headline to your message. And if you put that in front of your ideal audience and you have dialed in your cover, your title, your subtitle, then people are going to buy your book. And whatever small fee you had to pay to put it in front of that blog, to put it on their homepage, to do whatever it is that they want for you to have that content there is worth it. Because now your book is going to get in front of the right people at the right time, okay? Let's talk about, in a general sense now, off the blogs and the podcasts and the websites. Let's talk about Amazon. Amazon will allow you to put any title on a book, almost, any cover on a book, almost. It can really be trashy. So Amazon doesn't care about that stuff because they have 15 million other books of authors that did things the right way, right? So they're not going to stop you from doing it, but they're not going to reward you either. So what you do with Amazon is not going to be dependent on whether it's good or bad. Amazon will allow you to do whatever. So you need to make sure that you're doing a good job with your cover, your title, your subtitle right out of the gate. Now, what Amazon is going to look for, though, Amazon is going to look for certain things when it comes to your publishing platform itself. They're going to look for what your title is and how it relates to the categories you're in. Amazon is going to look at the keywords that you've used within your description. Amazon's going to look at the length of your description itself. And Amazon now gives you the ability to do something called A+ content. We never had this ability in the past. Basically, in the past, you would have a very simple Amazon description, and simple could still be 500, 800, 1,000 words, etc. And then it went right to your competitors. In other words, other books that are selling really well, which means they have good covers and good titles, etc., that are potential books for your ideal client. Remember, Amazon doesn't really care about me and you. All they want to do is move books. And so if you're not doing a good job giving the customer what they want on your description page, Amazon's going to say, look, here are 11 other books or 15 other books, and you can just scroll right or scroll left that you may like better. Because we don't want you to leave without buying a book. We don't care, though, if you buy Rob's book or not. Doesn't matter to us. We just want you to buy something, okay? It behooves you and I to do the very best we can with what Amazon allows us, that once they hit that page, once they see the cover that they like, once they see the title that they like, they click on the button and now they're into the description. We want to give them as much as we can to make them purchase the book, hit the buy button on Amazon. Now, in the past, as I said, there wasn't much that we could do. Description, and then you got the competitors, etc., obviously about the author, all of that kind of thing. Amazon now allows us to do things in a really cool way, and that's with A+, what Amazon calls A+ content. So for those of you that understand funnels and landing pages and things like that, think of it this way. And we do a lot of that, right? We have multiple book funnels that we run for my company. We build book funnels for our clients, etc. So when you're building a funnel of any kind and somebody clicks on the ad, right? And your ad, this is your ad, right? Your cover, your title, that's like your headline. That's like your ad on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. When they click on that, now they hit the landing page. What are people doing the very best that they can with you on that landing page? Well, they are doing the best they can to get you to buy. They're doing the best they can. They're going to give you as much social proof, as many benefits, cool images, graphics, etc., to get you to say, you know what, I want that thing, whatever that thing is that I clicked on the landing page for. Well, Amazon allows you to do that now. So I think I've showed you guys in the past, and I won't do that right now at this one, but I'll put some various images in our group, etc., if you want to see that. But right now, there's this stark contrast between authors that are using A-plus content and authors that are not using A-plus content. And my recommendation to you is to use as much A-plus content as possible. And what that is it's beautiful images, it's additional content, and Amazon will allow you to do that generously. So like I said, I'll send some images, etc., so that you guys can see that. But there's lots of things that you can do with A-plus content. Don't just put a description up, hope that you have the right keywords and press publish. That is not and no longer good enough. Amazon allows you to do a lot more. So you'll use the tools they give you, use and create A-plus content. Okay. So that's part one. Part one is your title, subtitle, cover, and content, meaning description, keywords, A-plus content, that sort of thing. Now the soft launch, and there's been a more recent change here as well. So something that we have always preached, we have always talked about, and that has always been important is when we launch a book, when we hit publish, right? Because now we have the right title, the right cover, the right description, the A-plus content, we hit publish. We want to take the first 2 or 3 weeks and we want to get as many Amazon verified reviews as possible. Now, why do we do that? Well, there's more than one reason, but I'll give you what a couple of those reasons are. Number one is anytime somebody is searching for a book right out of the gate and looks for the book on Amazon, they're going to be given many options of books, not just yours, right? Even if somebody searches your exact title name, they're going to get lots of other options of books that they can buy. If you have the right cover, you have the right title, you have the right description, all that, you'll show up at the right time. But what they're going to look at right out of the gate are reviews. That's what you look at when you buy a book. That's what I look at when I buy a book as well. If I see a book with just 2 or 3 reviews, I might click on it if I think it's perfect. But for the most part, I'm looking at a book with 50 reviews, 75 reviews, 100 reviews, 200, 500, 1,000 reviews. Those are the books where I go, oh, I get it. I mean, that's a popular book. And we're social animals. We want to kind of follow, hey, look, if other people have said that this book is great and it's got 275 reviews and the reviews average 4.5 or 4.75%, then that book is going to be purchased. That book is going to be bought, right? That's the number one reason, or one of many. But that's a key reason. Your buyers want some social proof, and the reviews are part of the social proof. Part number two, which is a little bit more, undercover, but perhaps even more important, and that is Amazon pays attention to the reviews. Amazon's algorithm, and I can't tell you what percentage of it is because I don't know, but Amazon's algorithm is bent towards books with great reviews and as many reviews as possible. In the past, we would tell our clients, look, get 7, 8, 10 reviews right out of the gate. And then reviews will take care of themselves down the road. And some of that is still true. We don't do that anymore. We don't recommend that anymore. We believe that you should get 50 to 100 reviews right out of the gate. Now, out of the gate meaning as quickly as you can. Now, if you've ever tried to get reviews, you know they're difficult to get. They're tough to get. You'll ask your 3 best friends, your mom, your dad, and your favorite brother, and they'll all say, of course, dear, I'll read your book, I'll buy it, I'll review it. And then a month later, and none of them have reviewed your book. And there's a couple of things you can do, and I'll recount a couple of those things so that you know. Number one, always when you're asking for a review from your sphere of influence, a family member, a friend, a past client, a current client, take them off the hook. Tell them right out of the gate, you don't have to read the whole book. Just read 2 or 3 chapters and write a review based on what you read. Okay? So let them off the hook, please. If you require them to read the whole book, or if you don't let them off the hook, they're going to assume they need to read the whole book before they can give you a review, and they're never going to finish it. They're just not. They love you. They're your mom, they're your dad, they're your friend, they're your best client. They love you. You're amazing. But they don't have time to read all 173 pages. So let them off the hook. Number two, as much as possible, and your sphere of influence is only as big as it is. So maybe there's, I don't know, maybe there's 100 people you would feel comfortable asking for reviews. Even letting them off the hook, just assume that only about a quarter of those people are actually going to give you reviews. And that's like best case scenario, okay? So just assume that most of those people are not going to give you reviews. So you got to do, if you're going to do this on your own, you've got to really put some elbow grease into it. You're going to have to reach out to a lot of people, knowing that most of them, even letting them off the hook, most of them still aren't going to give you a review. So what do? Well, one of the things that we always recommend, and it's something we do, of course, at BSP, is we really want to help each other. And author groups are always a great place to do that. So not just the BSP family, right? For those of you, that are a part of the BSP family, okay, we can put a book up there and we can get 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 people that will jump in and offer reviews, etc. Now, one of the things that I always say about that is don't just post your book and ask for reviews. The first thing that you should be doing in the BSP community or any community is giving. Lead with the giving hand. Be the first person to comment on somebody else's post. Be the first person to be willing to review somebody else's book. Build those relationships, because as you do that, then others are going to want to support you. So with that said, you can do this outside of the BSP community. You can do this in other author groups, right? You can build relationships in other author groups where you're a support, you're giving, you're serving, you're helping, and then you're asking people, hey, can you help me to, read 2 chapters of this book, offer a review, etc., right? I know this is work. I wouldn't tell you to do it if it wasn't important. You put a lot of time and energy and money and resources into the writing of your book. Well, there's still some time and energy and resources that will need to go into the launch of your book, the success of the launch. And the second part, the soft launch, really, really important. At BSP, we're doing some new things where we're actually helping our clients to get 50 to 100 reviews. We've actually put together over 1,000 reviewers of books and are helping our clients to do that. So that's pretty cool. It's something new that we're doing, because in the past, we never really needed to worry about getting more than 7 or 8 or 10 or 12, and that's just changed. We need to move the needle. And you move the needle when you hit 50, 80, 100 reviews. Now we're talking about a successful book. I just talked to a new client about book number 2. He was so excited about book number 1. The book has been published for over 30 years. He's actually a bit of a celebrity in his space. His book had like 38 reviews. And I mean, it's been on Amazon for Amazon's entire lifetime. And I'm like, I get it that you're excited about book number 2, but, book number 1 kind of, didn't do all that great. It's been around for 30 years and you got, 40 reviews? Come on. So we got to move the needle. You want people to go to your book. You want people to go to your Amazon page, etc. You want them to do some research on you, and you want them to find that your book is crushing it. Okay. Last but not least, in these 3 parts is what we call the hard launch. And the hard launch is just kind of the culmination of getting the right message, the right cover, the right description, the right number of reviews in front of your ideal audience. When we do that at BSP, and there's ways to do it beyond us, and there's a lot of questions that I'm going to answer, and so I want to get to those. We'll talk about beyond BSP on another call, maybe even next week. But the way we do it to get an author that doesn't have a very big platform and make them a legitimate bestseller and get sometimes thousands of downloads in a short period of time is we always recommend, number 1, you want to do 3, we have a 3-step process here for the hard launch. You want to do 3 press releases in the United States, because the U.S. is the biggest and richest market on Amazon. Each press release goes out to about 1,000 media outlets. Usually about 100, 150 of those media outlets will pick it up. So you get a lot of action from those 3 press releases. Number 2, you want to do paid advertising. We always recommend doing paid ads on 20, 30, 40 sites. For us, most of these sites are author-related sites that are based on the genre of the author. So if somebody wrote a book about estate planning, then, we find 20, 30, 40 sites that have a financial slant to them, and we're able to do ads and position that book in front of their ideal clients during the launch week. And then last but not least is social media. And you can't go on Facebook or Instagram without tripping over 10 different people advertising their book. And why do they do that? Why do I do that? I found many of you because you found my book. My book sells every single day through our funnel, through social media, through my ads, through my emails, etc. And this is now some 6 years later with Publish, Promote, Profit, and Write with AI, of course, is doing the same thing. And I personally do not write a book without building a book funnel. So my next book, I may be finished with it this weekend. I'm going to try to finish it this weekend, which is my Book Funnel Secrets book. And the first thing I'm going to do as that book is launched is build a book funnel, because I want to be selling my book through my own resources while Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all the other places are working to sell my book for me. They'll get a little piece of that action, but I want the customer, and I get the customer by selling the book myself. Okay? So we started this by talking about this idea that the average author does very little. Like, they think all the work is in the writing of the book. And certainly there's a lot of work in the writing of the book. But the publish and hope strategy is no strategy at all, right? So we need to do something beyond that. For us, it's very, very clear. And yes, it does change and it does morph and it does adjust, as I just shared. Amazon has changed some things, allowing A+ content. They've changed some things. They're really looking even more heavily on reviews. So that's why I wanted to break this down for you so you could see the differences. Part 1, title, key, cover, key. And then your content, and by content, I mean not what you've written in the book. I'm assuming that's amazing. I'm talking about your keywords, your description, and in particular, A+ content. The soft launch, major focus on reviews, and you want to do this in just 2 or 3 weeks. You don't want to take forever to do it, maybe a month at the most. And 50 to 100 reviews, do your best to get that many. And then last but not least is the hard launch. And when you do these things the way I've described it, whether you're doing it on your own or whether you're asking Bestseller Publishing to do it for you, it is going to work, period. You are going to hit bestseller. Your book is going to explode. Your book is going to do fantastic. And as your book does fantastic, it's going to give you opportunities, perhaps speaking engagements, perhaps PR and media, perhaps lead generation, whatever it is that you're looking for your book to do for you. Okay, thank you. I hope this was kind of helpful. Obviously, some of this you may have heard many times, but there are some differences. And I wanted to kind of explain the whole process so that you kind of understood it from start to finish. And then I could kind of fit in the differences. Obviously, the biggest differences have to do with reviews and the number of reviews needed. They have to do with the kind of content that we're now allowed to use on Amazon, A+ content versus kind of just long form normal stuff, which is beautiful imagery, etc. And then of course, the number of reviews and that sort of thing. So hopefully that's all helpful. If any of you have any questions, then feel free to reach out to me directly. You can email me. I know several of you asked questions about getting reviews. If you want BSP's help with that, it is a small investment, but if you're having a hard time getting reviews, then you need to get reviews. So we're here to help if we can be of help. And certainly we now have the tools and resources to do that, plus the A+ content. So there you go. Thank you, guys. Awesome to be with you. Thank you so much for your trust in me and BSP. Remember, Thursday is the book development call, and I will see you guys next week as well. Have a great day. Bye.